All right, hi there. So this is Iso. I'm about to head into the gym, but there's been a message that's been weighing on my mind for the last couple of days, and I decided to take out some time to record the message. Um, Now, elections for the governorship in Nigeria taking place within the next 2 days. So taking place on Saturday, and today is Thursday, so it's about 2 days to go. I felt that it was important to put this message out before the election, and this message is targeted at young people and the obedience. So let me say the obedience. So the people who are champions of better governance. People who've realized that Nigeria is not working. It hasn't worked, and I hope that the obedience in Cross River State would realize that Cross River State is not working and it needs to work for for you to have a future. Cross River State, you need to have a Cross River State that is working. So this message is targeted at you folks, people between the ages of, I guess, about 18 to 30, 35. People who are older, maybe set in their ways, and may not be as invested in changing the status quo as people who are younger would be. All right. So there are lots of messages that have been circulating in the last few days about back to South, reminding people that um, the governorship of the state has rotated from the south to the central to the north, and it's now the turn of the south. Now, I disagree with that principle. I disagree with that principle, and I wrote an article in, I think it was January 2022. I'll share the link to that article at the bottom of this video so you can read it for yourself. I disagree completely with that, and I'm from the Southern Senatorial District. I'm from Calabar Municipality. So, one would expect that I would be a champion for the Back to South principle, but I'm not, and I'll tell you my reasons why. Um, those who I can understand to an extent why people would advocate for rotation. I can understand that. They talk about the need for fairness and equity. They talk about um, the need for everybody to feel included. And I understand and I appreciate that, but I still disagree with it. And I'll give you my reasons why. So, if we say that zoning leads to greater fairness, I would challenge that, and I would ask you, if we, why are we zoning from between the senatorial districts? Why aren't we zoning between the local governments? Okay, so why don't we zone across the 18 local governments in Cross River State? Why don't we even take it further down? Why don't we take it lower and zone across the villages in each of the local governments? All right, or why don't we do that? So why don't we take it all the way down and do it that way? Because that is the only time it will truly be fair, in my opinion. But of course we can't, because it would be absolutely ridiculous for us to do that. What happens zoning is when we do zoning? So we say, for example, now is the time of the Southern Senatorial District. Okay, the Southern Senatorial District is made up of what, maybe like 6 local governments. All right. Now, which of those local governments should it go to, or which of the ethnic groups, if we want to talk about ethnicity, should it go to? Okay. Now, I'm from Calabar municipality, like I said. Calabar is made up of the Quors, the Effiks, and the Efuts. I'm Quor. All right. The former governor, Donald Duke, who was from the Southern Senatorial District, was Effik. Now, if it comes back to the South, why shouldn't it go to an Efut man or woman? Why shouldn't it go to a Quor person? Why shouldn't it go to someone from Akankpa or any of the other local governments in the Southern Senatorial District? Okay, why should it be someone who is also Efik? Now, I'm not against, any candidate. I'm not against the candidate of the APC, not at all. The question that or the point that I'm trying to make is that when you insist on zoning, if you don't take it all the way down to the most granular level, what you do is that you drive down that perceived um, inequity, you drive it to a lower level. All right. So people say there's inequity if it doesn't move from the north to the south and then to the central. When it comes down to the south, there's inequity if it stays in one ethnic group. Why don't you drive it across all the ethnic groups in that senatorial district? You know, I hope you understand the point that I'm making. So those who say that it leads to fairness and equity, I argue against that. I think that what it does is that it forces that unfairness, perceived unfairness and inequity down to a lower level. And what happens is that the people from the most dominant, maybe ethnic group or local government or whatever, will be the ones who benefit, if I, for want of a better word, from rotation. So can you see how rotation in itself can lead to a lot of inequity and a lot of unfairness? All right. Now, if we say that it should be zoned, so let's say, for instance, now you have a very good candidate from the north, from the Northern Senatorial District, who is maybe 45 years old now, he's in his prime, and he wants to vie for the position of governor. You're telling him that he has to wait, is it 16 years? Or is it 16 years? Or is it 20, 24 years? He has to wait till it comes all the way back to the time of the North, by which time he would be in his 60s. He or she would be in her 60s before they can vie for that position, simply because we're respecting something called zoning that was put in place in 1980 through an accord, the Calabar-Goja Accord or whatever it's called. I think that we need to enter into a modern age where we are selecting, or we are electing a governor not based on where he comes from or she comes from, or not come, or the person doesn't come from, but more based on the capacity of the individual to move the state from where it is to where it should be. Okay, that politics based on ethnicity has not served the interest of Cross River State. Look at where we are. All right. And I remember I think maybe it was in 2011 or so, when Goodluck Jonathan was coming to campaign in Cross River State. And of course, the whole sentiment was that this is someone from the South. This is a South person. It's in our best interest to vote for this person. And he came and, of course, the usual political link. Oh, Your Excellency, you didn't need to come here. Oh, Your Excellency, Cross River State is 100% for you. You didn't need to come here. Now, he was elected. The question that I would ask you is, was Calabar-Itu Road fixed? Calabar-Itu Road is as bad today, is worse today, is worse than it was 20 years ago. I used to live in Port Harcourt. In the 1980s, the journey from Port Harcourt to Calabar was 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Now you will be lucky if you do it in 7 hours. All right. Why are we playing this ethnic politics? Okay, the road leading from Calabar to Northern Cross River to the Ranch Resort, has it been fixed? Was it fixed? It wasn't. So we need to drop that. And to the obedience, I would remind you about what attracts you to Peter Obi. It's his capacity. It's his heart. It's his capacity. Because Peter Obi has said, don't vote for me because I am Igbo. Don't vote for me because I'm from the South. Don't vote for me because I'm a Christian. We need to move that message down to the grassroots in Cross River State. We should not vote for a candidate because he comes from the Southern Senatorial District or the Northern Senatorial, the Central Senatorial District. We need to vote for competence. We need to vote for capacity. We need to vote for someone who has a track record and can move the state forward. The state has so many challenges. And you guys, I don't live in Cross River State anymore, but you live there. You see it. I was in Calabar a couple of weeks ago for the presidential elections. The place is filthy. The businesses have fled for their lives from Cross River State. Nothing is working. There's no electricity. There's no light where my house is. There's been no light for several weeks. Okay. So the state has problems, has issues. Please, ignore those people. Ignore those people who tell you that it is the turn of the South, or it is the turn of the Central, or it is the turn of... No. Ignore all those things and vote based on who you think is the best candidate to move Cross River State forward. We can't afford to make make the same kind of mistake as was made 7.5 years ago, and our state is paying a very heavy price for that. So once again, this message, like I said, it goes out to the young people, particularly the obedience in Cross River State. Please don't let anybody persuade you to vote based um, on ethnicity. Vote for capacity. Whoever that candidate is, it doesn't matter which party. If you feel, yes, this person has the capacity, this person has the heart, you want a governor who loves the people. You want a governor who is ready to feel the pulse of the people, someone who's ready to listen and make himself or herself accountable. I'm not aware that there's any female on the ballot, but make themselves accountable to the people of Cross River State. That's who we need. We don't need an emperor who is going around in his siren at 6 a.m. in the morning on the way to mass. That's not what we need. We need a governor who is simple. We need a governor who is down to earth. We need a governor who loves the people and shares, feels empathy for the people of Cross River State. Please, the politics in the state has not worked. The richest people in Cross River State are politicians. It should not be so. We need to change that narrative, vote for capacity, and hold our governments accountable so that we can get the best possible outputs and move Cross River State forward. So I said a lot on this video, and like I said, I shared the link to the article I wrote last year. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. And if you don't, share your views. Tell me you disagree. But these are my views that I've shared, and I hope that the obedience in Cross River State and the young people who are tired of the status quo, are frustrated with the status quo, will do the wise thing and select the candidate that you feel is the best candidate to move Cross River State forward. Not based on ethnicity, not based on that back to south mantra that people who are proposing this, some of them very elderly and very respectable people. Don't listen to them. Vote for capacity, and let's move Cross River State forward. So I wish you the best on Saturday. Unfortunately, I can't be there to vote as I did for the presidency, but Cross River State is literally in your hands. So it's in your hands to rescue Cross River State and set it on the right path. So make a wise, decision, make a wise choice. For governor, all we can do is let's work together regardless. Let's work together for a better Cross River State. So God bless you and have a wonderful day.